Hello viewers, welcome to CEC lectures. Myself Dr. Preeti Chagwani from Department of Computer Science, Aryabhat College, University of Delhi. So presently we are going through our series of database management system DBMS, and we have covered couple of lectures about the introduction of this DBMS. And now let us move on to more fundamentals and more basics of DBMS, and then we will be in our subsequent lectures we will be moving to more technical aspects of more detailed technical aspects of DBMS. So in our previous lecture we have seen what are the storage technicalities as far as data on the computers are considered. So we can have it either in the file system or in the in the form of database management system, that is DBMS. So these both are actually the ways to organize and manage the data. File system, as far as we consider, are basically used to manage files and directories, and some basic operations like creation, deletion, renaming and accessing the files are major operation which can be we can say accomplished with the help of these file systems. And the file system is actually in the form of a hierarchical structure. They take a hierarchical structure form. Now what was the problem with this file system was they lack ability to manage the complex data relationships, and consistency, integrity of data. All those were kind of impossible to maintain when we talk about file system. So with that, with all those problems, there comes in the scene that the DBMS, which is basically a software designed to manage large amount of structured data and provide advanced operations for storing, retrieving and manipulation of data. And also one more important thing which is associated with DBMS is they can be modified by multiple users, or they can be accessed by or modified by multiple users or multiple applications. Now with all this background, we have already seen what is the meaning of the terms when we talk about the data validation, then we talk about the concurrency control, backup and recovery mechanism. All these are the features which are provided by database management system, but not actually kind of we can say provided by your file system. And others in the list are your data consistency, accuracy and integrity. All these features which I am talking about, like validation, concurrency control, backup and recovery mechanism, consistency, accuracy and integrity of data, are ensured by we can say by database management systems. So with this background, let us try to compile and consolidate the difference between file system and database management systems. If we talk about, we will be taking one particular basis we are going to take some basis parameters, and then we will be comparing file system and database management system on the basis of that particular parameter. So let us say we talk about the structure. So when we talk about the structure, we can say file system is a way of arranging the files in a storage medium within a computer, and generally it is hierarchical, as I told you. While database management system is actually a software which is used for managing those complex relationships within the data, or simply we can say it is a software which is used for managing the database. That's what DBMS is. Coming to data redundancy as in kind of we can say duplication. So file system at some points of time is going to have redundant data. So data redundancy is yes present in the file system, while in DBMS we can say there is almost no redundant data, or a very minimal amount of redundant data is available or is present depending upon the situation. Coming to the next parameter, which is backup and recovery. So backup and recovery is basically file system does not provide any backup and recovery, while the DBMS provides backup and recovery of the data. It is having special provisions for taking the backup and restoring in case of any failure or something. Coming to the processing of queries, efficient query processing techniques are available along with the DBMS, but as far as file system is concerned, no efficient query processing is available along with the file system. Then coming to the next thing, which is consistency, we have more consistent data in database management system, because there are we can say techniques available with database management system to ensure consistency, and one of them is normalization, while the consistency in case of file management system is very less, or even we can say it may have an inconsistent data, which is actually going to give us a lot many problems while using the data. Complexity with so many less features, your file system is actually a little a less complex thing, while DBMS with along with all its feature involves more complexity. Coming to security constraints, so there is, we can say, less security as compared to database management system when we talk about file system, while DBMS is having more. Now, why DBMS is having more? Because in the previous lecture we have seen about the roles and access control mechanism. So, role based authorization and access can be ensured in database management system, while this cannot be ensured in file management system very efficiently. So, there are security constraints in file management system, while DBMS is kind of, we can say have more security mechanism. Coming to the cost part, obviously file system, a little less complicated thing, is less expensive than DBMS, while the cost of hardware and software in case of database management system is going to be way higher than the simple file system. Then we talk about data independence. So, in file system there is no data independence, while we have data independence when we talk about database management system. So, basically, in order to understand the term data independence is, if we want to change the data at one particular level, this change is not going to affect the data at another level. So, if some situation exists, that is what we call is data is independent, while if changing the data at one particular layer is going to affect another layer also, that means there is no data independence. So, data independence exists in case of database management system, while does not exist in case of file system. Then we have user access. Generally, in a typical scenario, a file system can allow only one user to access the data at a time, while multiple users with the help of role-based access control and authorization can use database management system at a particular time. Then in order to manage the file system, a user has to write the procedures for managing the whole databases, while in DBMS user does not require to write these procedures. We have very simple statements in the form of query languages, which are available, and those can be used instead of writing the whole procedures. Now, data sharing, if we talk about, so your database management system is a kind of is of centralized nature. So, sharing is easy, while in case of file system your data is distributed in many files. So, it is not easy to share the data, because we have one central repository of data in case of database management system. So, it's more easier to we can say distribute, more easier to share the data. Coming to the abstraction, as you know that it is hiding the inner level details of the procedure. So, if we talk about data abstraction, your this thing, database management system hides the internal details of the database, while the storage and representation of data, or the details of the storage and representation of data are given, or we can say are exposed in case of your file system. Now, integrity constraints, that is kind of we can say rules and requisitions which are necessary to maintain the integrity. integrity constraints are easy to implement in case of database management system, while they are difficult to implement if we talk about file management systems. Coming to another parameter, which is about what are the examples of database management systems. So we have Oracle, we have SQL Server and so many others. While file management system is being controlled by various programming languages like COBOL and C++ and so on. So we have, till this point we have seen what is the what are the parameters of differentiating your database management system from file system, and how can we differentiate them. So with all these kind of, we can say, buzzwords like controlling the redundancy, maintaining the integrity, or facilitating the sharing, and restriction of unauthorized access, provision of backup and recovery, we can also say that all these are advantages of database management system. Apart from that, one more advantage which is there, or which is very prominent, is standards can be enforced. So when we talk about enforcing a standard, that means we have set procedures for, let's say, for printing a particular report, or for having some backup and recovery. So all these procedures are standard and written, and let's say, for example, format of a report. So format of a report is fixed, and all these standards can be enforced for the whole of the enterprise which is using database management system. So with so many advantages of database management system, let us try to explore another side of the coin, which are the disadvantages of database management system. So there is no advantage without the disadvantage. So let us try to explore all those points which are disadvantages of DBMS. So when we talk about disadvantage, the first comes things up with so many things, with management of so many modules and provision of so many we can say facilities, it is a more complex structure, or it is a more complex software as compared to normal file system, and that is there. When we try to implement database management system, there is an additional cost of software as well as hardware, because we need some special servers and so on and so forth. And as far as software is concerned, yes, we need a database management system like Oracle or something of that sort. So there is a cost of software and hardware which is involved with this. Then it is bulky in size. The database management system needs a lot of memory. Then some upgrade and replacement is always required when we talk about database management system, because many versions are keep coming on, and those upgrade is required, or if one version is not going to, or if one software of database management system or one database management system is not going to satisfy the requirement, it has to be replaced with another. Then there are performance issues, scalability issues, all those things comes under with this database management system. So this is basically we can say it is a complete package along with its own pros and cons both. So with this we have seen what is the difference between file system and database management system. What are the parameters on which these differences are considered, and more typically we can also say what is the advantage and what all are the advantages and disadvantages of database management system. Now with this, let us try to explore one more subtopic of the database management system, which is very important, and that topic is views of data, or we can say data views. So basically, as you all are aware that database system, it is a collection of interrelated data and a set of programs that allow users to access and modify this data. So for example, we have some logical collection of interrelated data. Along with that logical collection of interrelated data, which is the database, we have a set of programs which is written in order to access or modify that particular data. So that set of programs which is there for modification, or which is there for access, plus the collection of that data on which that program is going to work. These things together basically we can say it is a database management system, or it is a database system. And the major purpose, we can say, or one of the major purpose of the database system is to provide the users with an abstract view of the data. Now, when we talk about abstract view of data, that abstraction as in hiding the inner level details. So, system is going to hide certain details of how the data is stored, how the data is being maintained, and all these we can say levels which are having specific details are comprising of the topic views of data. So, why so first of all, why do we need to have these views of data? Why are we trying to provide the users with abstract views of data? The simplest thing it is, we need the system to be usable, we need the system to retrieve data efficiently, and for this we need to use complex structure, or the designers of the database are going to use the complex structure, but it is not necessary that the users of database management system are trained as as the designers are trained. So, designers are going to build some complex systems. Why? Because we need to have some functionality within those complex system, or the system has become complex because we want to ensure the functionality. But with this complex system, is the user which is going to be there to use the database management system, is that particular user is going to be that trained as that of a designer? It is highly unlikely. So, that means users are not that trained. So, in that situation we need to hide some of the details, or some details of storage and maintenance of data, in order to present a very simplistic view of data to users. So, definitely we need to have various views of data at various levels. So, when we talk about views of data, we have three levels. The first one is the physical level, another one is the logical level, and third one we have the view level. Now, let us try to understand all these levels of data. So, first is the physical level. When we talk about physical level, so physical level says it actually shows how a record is being instructed. Now, when we talk about a record, so record is basically, we can say, information or complete information about a particular entity. So, for example, here in this example which is being shown on the screen, we have taken one entity which is instructor. So, instructor is having some pieces of data. So, for example, an instructor is having an instructor ID, instructor is having an instructor name, then we have the department name in which that instructor is working, and then we have it's his or her salary. So, basically we can say your instructor is an entity, and this is stored with, and what all information is stored about this instructor is 4 pieces of information. One is ID, another one is the name, third one is the department name, and the fourth one is the salary. Now, when we talk about the physical level, so physical level describes how a record is being stored. That means on which particular we can say on which particular track, on which particular cylinder, what is the kind of file system in which it is stored, and all those kinds of low level instructions. While when we talk about logical level, so logical level describes the data stored in the database and the relationships among the data. So, logical level is not about how data is stored, it is actually about what data is stored. So, the data which is being stored is instructor are in the form of 4 fields as it is shown on the screen, ID, name, department name and salary. Apart from that, in physical level we were looking at the physical components of the structure, as in which particular cylinder or how data is stored basically. At logical level we are looking at what data is stored, while the third level, which is the view level. So, view level is about hiding the information depending upon what a user wants to see. So, for example, I am talking about this instructor data, and this instructor data is required by the admin department. Now, admin department actually does not need employee's salary, so we can hide that employee salary for security purpose. So, for admin department, one view of data of this instructor is going to be ID, name and the department name, that means the data without salary. One view is the complete view, another one is without the salary. So, application programs are there to hide details of data, and various views can be there in which a user wants to see the data, what particular data is being seen by which particular user. So, if we can see the hierarchical level of this particular views of data, the figure is available on the screen. So, we can have an architecture for a database system. At view level it can have various views starting from view 1 to view n. Beyond we can say at the lower level of the view level we have logical level, and physical level is the bottommost level. So, physical level is shows how data is stored, logical level shows what data is stored, and view level is going to present different views to different users. So, this is how we can say an architecture of a database management system with reference to views is being talked about. So, in this lecture we have seen differences of file system and database management system, and also we have explored the views of data. Here is a list of references which is being shown, which is being used for the preparation of lecture. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Goodbye.